Okay, let's talk anxiety. These are some of the things that I'm going to be looking at if you come in with anxiety, and these are some of the questions that you can begin to ask if it's something that you suffer with, so that you can start to become more empowered with your health. The first place I look is chemically, and what I mean by that is I'm interested in your hormone and stress response in your life that is potentially causing an anxious response. So for example, if your blood sugars are unstable, and this can be coming from high stress, a high carbohydrate diet, food intolerances, if you are on a blood sugar roller coaster, which means that you are producing high insulin and high adrenaline and cortisol, a natural emotional response to that is going to be anxiety. So I want to be looking at the foods that you're eating. If you are eating food that you're intolerant to, then that also creates an adrenaline or cortisol response. So we want to be making sure that you're not eating foods that are causing a stress response. I want to be looking at what's going on in your life. So where are the stressors? Are you overwhelmed with work? Are you struggling with relationships? Are you finding it difficult to be able to communicate effectively? Be that again in work or in your home life or with your friends. It's great to get an understanding of what actually stresses you out. Another way of working with anxiety is it can be a vitamin or mineral deficiency. A really common one is magnesium. It's a regular one that I test because magnesium has a role of being a calmer in the body. So that's a lovely way to look. Another thing that I use is adaptogenic herbs, and I love adaptogenic herbs because again they work with the endocrine system, which is your stress response, and they take anything that is running too high, which can be something like cortisol, adrenaline, and start to calm it down, or anything that's running too low, so say thyroid function, and it starts to pick it up. And so anxiety can be very much a symptom, a victim of other areas that are going on in your body. So we look at digestion, we look at the endocrine response, and we also look at the emotional well-being that you're experiencing. One thing that I have really noticed in my clinic with anxiety is that a common thing that can be happening with people is an inability to hold boundaries in their life and to be able to stand up for what's important to them, and being able to recognize the needs in their life and to be able to own that and to be able to communicate it. It can be very scary to be able to come into conflict, and so people who suffer with anxiety tend to stay away from conflict, which ends up having a rebound effect. We tend to be creating more anxiety because we're not able to hold boundaries in our life. So something that I work with and a question that I ask is, how are you with boundaries, and also how are you with the emotion of anger and resentment. And anger, if you have one of those relationships with anger where you feel that it's not something that you connect with at all, it can be a really powerful tool to start looking at the whole issue around anger, what it means to be angry, what it means to allow ourselves to be angry, how we deal with anger, how we allow it into our lives. If we're allowed, because anger is a very passionate emotion, but one of its roles in our life is that it is able to stand in front of things and protect us. And when we feel like we have no protection, we can get really anxious. So it's just a few tools for you to be able to, a few questions for you to be able to start asking when it comes to anxiety.